Alexander McMillan was so damn happy. He pulled his cell phone out of his pocket and called home to tell his wife that his 2-day meeting in San Francisco had been canceled, and he was not leaving on his 5:30 p.m. flight after all. He was returning to the office to drop off some paperwork and would be home in about 3 hours. The 2-day meeting was actually a job interview. He caught wind of an opening for a division president at a national company that had moved one of its divisions to the Chicago area. Everything he knew about Chappell Electronics indicated that it would be a fantastic company to work for, and the regional division was close to his home, so his commute wouldn't take any longer than it did now. Chappell is a manufacturer of electronic devices, including video surveillance equipment, as well as other common electronic products. The position was a perfect fit for his skills, and he came highly recommended to the company by his own boss and friend, Michael Kraft. Michael had close friendships with several high-ranking people in Chappell, and he helped bring them together. Although Michael was sad to see Alex go, he realized he couldn't keep him and gave him a glowing recommendation. In fact, he was so highly respected that the only reason an interview was scheduled was to comply with the necessary protocol at Chappell. The trip was canceled because they were going to meet him in Chicago at the division headquarters rather than at the corporate headquarters in San Francisco. The information from Michael was that they were going to offer him the position right away. This came as a bit of a surprise to Alex, but the company itself had been monitoring him for several years and, out of respect for his boss, did not make him a direct offer. They hadn't offered him anything yet, but that would be decided when he met with them the next day. Chappell gave him a high salary and a benefits package that made his head spin. No matter where he ended up within that range, he knew it would greatly improve their standard of living. If all goes according to plan, Alex will start work in 3 weeks. When he arrived at the office, Michael was already waiting for him and congratulated him. He had a huge smile on his face and said to Alex, "If anyone deserves this, it's you. Congratulations." Apparently, Michael's friends called him to tell him that the job belonged to Alex. Alex said, "Come on, Michael. They haven't even officially offered it to me yet. Your congratulations will have to wait, but thanks anyway." Alex was truly touched by the support he received from Michael and told him that Chappell Electronics had told him that whoever got the position would have to start in 3 weeks. Alex told Michael that if he was offered the position, he would take the position. Michael said, "I knew this would happen, so to be honest, I already chose your replacement. This is Ann Colton, and she is fully qualified to take your place starting tomorrow, as you well know, since you taught her everything she knows." Alex smiled. Ann came to work for him 2 years ago, and, as Michael stated, she was already fully capable of replacing him. She held this position a couple of times when he took long vacations. He was overjoyed at Michael's choice and very happy for Ann. She deserves a promotion and will do well. Spend this week getting Ann up to speed on all your open projects, and the remaining 2 weeks for rest. You'll be very busy once you start working at Chappell. You'll regret your cushy job here. Also know that the benefits package is huge, Alex. They know what they will get from you, and they will be willing to pay dearly to get you. Ask for everything you could hope for because they will pay it. When he arrived at his home, he noticed that his wife's car was not in the garage. He remembered that she was probably still at work and would be home soon. Entering the kitchen, he threw his bag on the floor and went to the refrigerator for a beer. He looked into the dining room and saw that his wife had 2 sets of the best china and crystal on the table, as well as candles, napkins in stands, and other romantic decorations. He smiled to himself, thinking that she was going to throw him a special dinner when he got home from his interviews. He was heading to their bedroom when he noticed the light blinking on the answering machine. They had 2 messages. The first message was the one he left. The second message made him jump when he heard it. "Hey, baby, it's me, Larry. I just wanted to let you know that I am scheduled to arrive around 6:30 p.m. I can't wait to touch your hot body. Every time I think about the last time we were together, I can't get you out of my head. I will love you until you start begging for mercy, and then I will love you some more. See you later, baby. Warm up for me." Alex couldn't believe what he heard. He recognized that voice. Larry. The message was from Larry Evandale, one of his wife Jody's ex-boyfriends. Larry dated Jody in high school, but Alex won her over and married her. Now he was some big lawyer in Texas, and as far as Alex knew, he wasn't married. Until now, he had never had any reason to doubt Jody's love or loyalty. He said under his breath, "What a bitch. How can she do this to me?" Alex then remembered the dinner table set for a romantic dinner, and the anger he felt turned into pure rage. When Jody's mother passed away, each of her 4 daughters took 2 sets of china, crystal, silverware, and napkins with fancy silver napkins to remember her. Jody treasured these items and only used them for special occasions. He thought, well, from now on, we'll see how special this is. He went to his workshop and took a ball hammer. Returning to the dining room, he began to break all the china and crystal. He also hit the dining room table and napkin holders with a hammer, bending and damaging them to the point that they were likely beyond repair. He tore the napkins in half and placed them on top of the broken glassware. He then removed the wedding ring, flattened it with a hammer, and placed it on one of the torn napkins. Alex took out his cell phone and dialed his home number. "Jody, this is Alex. Based on the message I just heard a couple of minutes ago, I'm guessing that you had a very special dinner planned for tonight with Larry, but as you noticed, I kinda ruined it for you. But what is this compared to how you destroyed our marriage? See you sometime. Goodbye." Having done this, Alex picked up his bag from the kitchen floor and walked out to his car. He drove straight to O'Hare Airport and called to check for incoming fleets from DFW in Texas. There were only a few fleets. You needed 5412 and Delta 1253. That would get Larry into town in time to arrive at his home at 6:30 p.m. Alex called United Airlines and asked to speak with a customer service representative. He asked, "Is Larry Evandale on United Flight 5412 coming from DFW?" Regardless of how the customer service representative responded, Alex believed he would know what flight Larry was on. If he said, "No, sir, there is no Larry Evandale on this flight," he would have known that Larry was on Delta Flight 1253. If he had said, "Sir, I cannot disclose this information to you," he would have known that Larry was on a United flight. As it turned out, it was a Delta flight, and Alex was waiting at the gate when Larry got off the plane. He walked up behind Larry and quickly spoke in a venomous voice. "Larry, don't even think about going to my house tonight. If you do this, I will hunt you down and kill you. Your smartest move would be to just get back on the plane to Texas. Yes, that would be your smartest move." When Alex approached him, Larry was shocked and speechless. He couldn't imagine how Alex knew he was coming at this time, and he couldn't think of anything to say. But when Alex left, he finally came to his senses and shouted, "But Alex, it's not what you think." However, it was already too late because Alex disappeared into the crowd and not a word he said was heard. Larry had also known Alex since high school and college and knew that he was a tough, dangerous guy when he wanted to be. "Damn it," Larry said to himself. "If I stay here, I might get shot. This woman is not worth it." He made a decision very quickly, took out his cell phone and called to cancel a business meeting he had scheduled for the next day, then went to the nearest service counter and booked the next flight back to Dallas. He was leaving in 2 hours, so Larry went to the bar and bought a much-needed drink, 3 or 4 actually. By the time he boarded his flight back to Dallas, he was pretty well loaded, but happy to be alive. He'll find some other, less risky woman in Dallas. Around 5:30 p.m., Patricia Hunt Davenport, Trish, unlocked the door and entered the house and kitchen. She saw the blinking light on the answering machine and, fully expecting a message from Larry, she pressed play. Instead of a message from Larry, this was the message Alex left on his answering machine shortly before he left. "Jody, this is Alex. Based on the message I just heard a couple of minutes ago, I'm guessing that you had a very special dinner planned for tonight with Larry, but as you pointed out, I kind of ruined it for you. But what is this compared to how you destroyed our marriage? See you sometime. Goodbye." Trish was shocked. How did Alex get the message from Larry? He was supposed to be on a plane to San Francisco. She thought, "Oh my God, Alex thinks Jody is the one who is dating Larry. Oh my God, it's horrible." She then noticed the destruction in the cafeteria, and her panic intensified. Trish called her home, and Jody Hunt McMillan, her sister, came on the line. "Oh my God, Jody, we have a terrible problem." Alex returned home and received a message from Larry. "He broke the china and crystal and destroyed the entire dining room and the festive table that you had arranged for me. Get the kids in the car and come here." "Oh God, Jody, I'm so sorry this happened. As it turns out, Trish Davenport was that married woman who wanted to experience some romance and extramarital sex with Larry Evandale. Her husband, Carl Davenport, was out of town on business, and Jody was going to watch her kids while Trish had her little party with Larry. Trish knew that Carl worked long hours when he was out of town and probably wouldn't call her until 8 o'clock in the evening or later, so she would have quite a few hours to spend with Larry. Now that Alex knew what was going on, the whole plan went to hell. Jody arrived with her 6-month-old twins in their car seats about 10 minutes after she hung up. They lived just a few blocks from each other, so all she had to do was pack the kids and come over. As soon as Jody walked through the door, Trish noticed the panic on her face. Jody rushed to her and exclaimed, "Oh my God, Trish, what should I do? How did this happen? Now Alex thinks I'm having an affair." "It's all my fault, Jody," Trish said. "I've been so depressed since the twins were born, and I just wanted to feel alive and sexy again. When Carl told me he needed to leave town, I think something just snapped, and I lost touch with reality. I called to see if Larry could come. Well, you know the rest. Oh my God, Jody, I can't believe this is happening." The two young women listened to all 3 phone messages. The first from Alex, the second from Larry, which left no doubt about his intentions, and the last from Alex again. When they listened to the message from Larry, they completely understood why Alex destroyed everything and left the message he did. No names were mentioned, and he certainly left no doubt that he intended to have sex with the woman he was calling. However, the first thing they had to do was get to Alex and convince him that Jody wasn't having an affair. The two were confident they could work it out with Alex and beg him to give Trish a chance to repair the damage she had done to her own marriage. Alex checked into the Hyatt in Oak Brook. He needed time to think about everything, and he knew that he could not return home. The Hyatt had a nice restaurant and lounge, so even though he wasn't hungry, he ate a light dinner and went to the lounge for a drink. After the second glass, he realized that it would be prudent to take the bottle to his room. He asked the bartender if he could order a bottle of scotch for his room and was assured that it could be done. Alex settled into his room and sat on the sofa with a glass of whiskey in his hand. He knew he had missed several incoming calls to his voicemail, so he pulled out his cell phone and saw that he had 3 messages. The first was from Trish, his sister-in-law, and Jody's sister. "Alex, I just came to your house, saw the mess in the dining room, and listened to the messages on your answering machine. Oh my God, Alex, you made a mistake and I just don't know what to do. I should have met Larry at your house, not Jody. She was at my house taking care of the twins. Oh my God, Alex, this is a mistake. Alex, call me or call Jody, and we'll explain everything to you. Jody didn't cheat on you, it was me. Please call me back." The second message was from Jody, which said much the same thing. "Alex, honey, there was a terrible misunderstanding, baby. I'm so sorry you thought I was cheating on you. It must have been terrible for you. But baby, it was set up at our house, and Trish was going to meet Larry there while I babysat the twins. Please call me or come home so we can talk. You will see how much I love you and how terrible I feel that you were hurt so much." The third one was also from Jody. "Alex McMillan, this was a terrible mistake and misunderstanding. Come home so we can fix this before you do something stupid. You know I love you." Alex pulled out his cell phone, selected his wife's number from his contact list, and sent her a text message. "I received messages from you and your sister, and I understand what you're talking about. But I still need a couple of days to think about everything. I'll call you tomorrow evening." He was still upset, but he actually felt better about the situation. What he didn't understand was why they did this in his house. The twins were only 6 months old. Even though he understood what they were saying in the messages, he was going to check some things on his own. A few seconds later, his cell phone beeped, letting him know he had a text message. This was from Jody. "Alex, I want you to come home. Please don't stay away from me, baby. I need you here, please." Alex immediately sent her a reply message. "No, Jody, I need to figure this all out. I'll call you tomorrow evening." He turned off his cell phone and drank a couple more drinks before finally plopping down on the bed and falling asleep. The next thing he knew, light was streaming through his windows and right into his face. He reluctantly stood up and closed the curtains to block out the light. It was killing him, and he was in enough pain as it was. Alex looked at the clock on his nightstand and saw that it was 8:30 a.m. He wasn't actually in a very good mood, but he had to grin when he thought about how bad it would be if he had an interview in the morning instead of at 2 p.m. He knew he still had a busy schedule, so he called home to see if Jody had left for work or not. She didn't answer her phone, so he was sure she had gone to work. Alex left the hotel room and took the elevator down to the garage. He got into his car and drove to an electronics store, where he bought a few things and then drove home. He thought as he drove, "Well, I'll take this opportunity to check out a few Chappelle Electronics products." When he arrived at his home, he was relieved that no one was there, so he packed some clothes and personal items for the next couple of days and put them in his car. He took the time to bug the phones in the kitchen and bedroom, as well as cameras in each room. He placed the receiver recorder transmitter in the basement workshop. Jody will never notice him there, and he will be able to access any data from his laptop or mobile phone. Once everything was in place, and he was confident that everything would work perfectly, he showered and got dressed for the interview. He managed to arrive at Chappelle Electronics about 10 minutes early and wait for the interview. As he expected, the interview went very well, and he was offered the position. The salary and benefits package they presented was incredible. They pretty much gave him the power to determine his own salary. Who does this? Alex realized that they really wanted him that much. He said, "I accept this position depending on the final agreement on the benefits package between us. The benefits are great, and I don't see the need for any changes. But the salary needs adjustment." Joe Sandford, his new boss, looked surprised and replied, "Alex, the salary we offer is almost double what you receive now. What else needs to be adjusted?" Alex laughed softly, and Joe's face started to turn a little red as he got angry. Alex reassured him by saying, "Joe, I'll take less. Give me a $50,000 raise over my previous salary, and let's work out an incentive program based on departmental performance that will give me the opportunity to earn more than what you're offering if I do my job. In addition to the incentive program, I would like to receive a certain bonus if all goals are achieved. Do you think this is acceptable?" Joe smiled and said, "Michael was right. You are absolutely the one we need in this position. You have a deal, Alex. Together, we will evaluate where we are now and where we would like to be, and I am confident that incentive and bonus programs will be approved by the board of directors. We'll update the numbers later if you don't mind." After the interview and subsequent meetings, Alex and Joe went to dinner at Morton's Steakhouse, after which Alex returned to his hotel to reconsider his home situation. He was very tired, so he decided to wait until the morning to follow up on the surveillance he had set up before the interview. When the sun hit his face in the morning, Alex stood up and prepared for the new day. He ordered breakfast to be delivered to his room and began reviewing the CCTV data accumulated over the past 24 hours. He listened to a couple of phone calls that had nothing to do with the situation, and then there was a call from Jody to Larry Evendale. "Larry, I know things went wrong, and I'm sorry about that." Alex was supposed to be on a flight to San Francisco, but unfortunately that trip was canceled. Larry replied, "But the only flight he was on was right in front of me when I got off the plane." I know what Alex threw in your face, but what would you expect from him in this situation? "Well, baby, no piece of ass is worth getting killed over, but I was really looking forward to enjoying you both." Larry, we'll have to forget about all this for a while. I know that after Trish goes home, you and I were going to spend the night together, but I have to convince Alex that you were only dating Trish, and not me too. Okay, but I'll call you next time I plan to come to Chicago and see if we can meet then. Just be careful that Alex doesn't find out about it next time. Yes, call next time. And Larry, I was disappointed too. I was looking forward to being with you again, and we'll just see what we can do in the future. Well, this conversation made steam come out of Alex's ears. This bitch cheated on me and will cheat on me again. I knew there was something fishy about the meeting at our house with Trish and Larry, he said out loud. He took a short break and poured himself a glass of whiskey. The next call he listened to was Jody Trish's. Trish, put the kids in the car and come over. We have to sit down and figure out how to deal with this so that none of us get hurt. Come now and please hurry. There were a few unrelated calls, and then, early in the morning, Jody called work, asking for the day off. Alex switched to the feed from the cameras and audio in the house. He noticed her cleaning up the mess he had made in the dining room, and it was obvious that Jody was upset about the destruction of her mother's family heirlooms. There was no way to repair the china and crystal. He broke everything into small pieces, and not a single piece was larger than an inch. The silver was bent beyond repair, and the napkins were torn in two. Nothing could be done about it. He saw Jody sobbing as she threw the rubble into the trash can. He saw her pick up his flattened wedding ring, and her sobs intensified. She didn't throw it in the trash, instead holding it in her hands like a treasured heirloom. She then gently pressed it to her heart, and then slowly put it in her pocket. He heard her moan, "Oh, what have I done? I have to convince him it was just Trish. I can't live without him. What was I thinking when I told Larry that I would see him at another time?" After finishing cleaning the dining room, Jody went into the living room, sat in his chair, and cried. He watched her for a while, and then Trish appeared. Jody said, "Trish, we need to convince Alex that you were the only one who had an affair with Larry. If he thinks it's me, my marriage will be over. He'll divorce me in a heartbeat if he thinks it's me. Then you will be in trouble too, because Carl will suspect something is wrong if we get divorced." "You're right, Jody," Trish said. "But then, how can I save my marriage? If Carl gets suspicious, he can run a DNA test on the twins, and then I'll be completely screwed. He'll find out the twins aren't his, and my marriage will end. What do we do?" "Like I said," Jody replied, "we have to convince him it was you, and then beg him not to tell Carl. You need to play on his gentle character so that he does not destroy your marriage. Beg him, and promise that you will never make this mistake again." "Oh, damn, Jody, I'll never make that mistake again. This scares the crap out of me, and I really love Carl. Whatever it takes, we will do it. Convince Alex and beg him not to hand me over to Carl." They both sat silently, thoughtfully for a while, and Alex simply watched them, until Jody began again. "Damn it. Why did we all have to be just like Mom? She cheated on Dad, and now you and I cheated on our husbands too, and Kay and Bobby cheated on their husbands the same way for years. I think the next time we get together we should make a pact to never cheat again." Although Mom never stopped until she died, Trish asked, "How many times have you cheated on Alex?" "I've only cheated on Carl twice, both times with Larry. This would be the third time. The second time I cheated, I got pregnant with twins, and that was my last time. I will never cheat on Carl again." Alex was especially interested in Jody's response. "Well, I think I cheated a few times, too. Twice with Larry, and several times with guys who picked on me at the bar. When Alex was traveling, I hated being home alone, so I would go out and let some guys buy me drinks and flirt a little. I probably overdid it a few times, and the next thing I knew, I was lying on my back with my legs spread. I can't say I regret it, but there was no intention at the time. I just didn't want to be alone." Trish laughed. "No intentions? Jody, this is priceless. You go to a bar, flirt, and let guys buy you drinks, and then say you never meant to cheat? You really made me laugh." Jody smiled. "Okay, you're right, but they weren't as good as Larry. I just let it happen on the spur of the moment. But Larry and I agreed on it in advance." Alex listened and watched their conversation until Trish took the twins and went home. There was nothing but them talking again about how they were going to convince him that Trish was guilty, but not Jody. When they were going to beg him to give Trish another chance. Finally, Trish left and Jody went to bed. Alex watched Jody get ready for bed, and as she lay there, he heard her say again through her crying, "I have to make things right. I just can't lose him." Alex turned it all off. He saw that there were more phone calls recorded and more videos to watch, but his heart couldn't take it anymore. He heard and saw everything he needed. His anger was at such a level that he wondered if he would explode. His only thoughts at the moment were how he would strangle her if she were here right now. This was completely out of character. Alex picked up the bottle of scotch and took a long swig, then poured the rest down the drain. He lay on the bed, thinking, and soon fell into a deep sleep. He didn't know how long he had been asleep, but he regained consciousness when he heard someone opening the door to his room. The maid's breath caught when she realized he was still in the room. She said, "I'm so sorry, sir. I didn't know you were here and there wasn't a security chain on the door. I'll be back to clean your room later. Will you tell me when I can return?" she asked. "What time is it now?" Alex asked. "It's 11 now a.m., she answered. "Okay, miss, I'll be out of here in an hour." The pressure in his head eased, and the throbbing in his chest almost completely disappeared. Alex decided that he could now handle the situation, so he picked up his phone and called Jody's office. He wanted to leave a trail that wouldn't give away the fact that he already knew. Of course, he was told that Jody was not there, so he said he would call her on her cell phone. When she answered, he asked, "Jody, where are you? I tried to call you at work, but they told me you didn't show up today. Are you having fun with some guy behind my back?" Jody's anger increased, but she knew she had better act calmly. She told him, "Alex, I'm not going to have fun with some guy, as you so eloquently put it. Trish and I both told you that it was she, not me, who planned to meet Larry. I'm home. I'm too upset to go to work, so I took the day off. Please come home, Alex, so we can clear this up. I'm returning home right now. Call Trish and tell her to come." "Get her cheating ass closer to your cheating ass," he thought to himself. When Alex walked through the door, they both rushed towards him, speaking at the same time. Jody tried to hug and kiss him, but he pushed her away. He let them continue for a while, all the while thinking about what he was going to do and what he was going to say. Finally, he raised his hand to tell them not to talk anymore. He wasn't going to reveal exactly what he knew or what the source of his information was, but he was going to let them know that he knew more than they thought. Alex said, "I want you both to stop all this nonsense. Just so you know, I'm not buying any of this. First off, Trish, I believe you are having an affair with Larry. You were first on the scene, and I believe Jody covered for you and babysat your children. But I also believe that after you left, my loving wife was going to have sex with Larry too. Why do I believe this? Because when I confronted Larry, he didn't tell me I was wrong. He didn't tell me it was Trish and not Jody. Larry was expecting you both, wasn't he? He could see from the expressions on their faces that he was right, and of course he already knew it." He continued, "Jody, when your mother died, your father came to me and told me everything she did and warned me about you. He said that you and your sisters are still just like your mother and warned me to keep a close eye on you. I didn't think much of it at the time, but it turns out he was right. I wish he was here so I could tell him how right he was, but unfortunately, he is already dead. It's probably a good thing that he doesn't see what a mess you've made of your life." When he mentioned their mother and father, the two ladies became more and more upset. Tears streamed down their cheeks, and they both took deep, rapid breaths. Alex knew that they were his now. "Okay, Jody, this is your only chance. But just one time, one mistake, one lie, and it will be over, okay?" "Yes, Alex, I understand. The whole truth and nothing but the truth," he said. "How many times have you had fun with Larry Evandale?" "Alex, please don't make me answer this question. I love you and I really want to save our marriage. I want you to continue to love me, please, Alex. I'll tell you if you insist, but please don't force me, please." "Speak." She lowered her head and said, "Twice." He asked, "How many other men have you cheated on me with since we got married?" She raised her head, her eyes wide and scared. "Oh God, Alex, please don't make me answer. You'll hate me. Please." She saw the anger on his face as he spat. "Tell me or I'll leave," she whispered. "Several. I don't know exactly." "What?" he shouted. "I cannot hear you. I said several, and that I don't know exactly how many there are. Please, Alex, don't leave me, please. I was completely honest here and now, please," she begged. "You're both a pair of traitors," Alex said. now in complete control of himself. So here's what needs to happen. Jody, you ignored our wedding vows and ruined our marriage. Starting now, I'm going to start having fun with whoever I want, where I want, as often as I want. Well, Trish, from now on, you are my toy. I never really liked Carl anyway, so I don't mind cuckolding him. If you don't like the idea, I guess I'll just have to tell him what you've been up to. She screamed, I will never become your toy, Alex. It will not happen. Oh, you think so? By the way, after I saw Larry, I was struck by how much your twins look like him. You know those little flat spots on their ears? So maybe I'll have to give Carl a hint to check things out. I'm sure the DNA will give you a result you won't like. So, no is still your answer? Alex realized from Trish's face that she was in his hands. Now get your ass onto my bed and take everything off. I'll be there in a minute. Go there now, or things won't turn out so well for you. She looked scared as hell with her eyes wide and her chin trembling, but she nodded her head obediently in agreement, and with a pleading look at Jody, she left the room and headed towards the bedroom. Jody was stunned by how things were going and said, Alex, how can you do this to us? How can you do this to Trish? I know I was wrong, but it's going to be hard for us to get through this. Jody, I don't care right now whether we get through this or not. If you don't like it, just leave. You and Trish got yourself into this mess, so I don't care how you have to get out of it. How long are you going to do this, Alex? When will you get tired of settling scores with me? When can we start trying to save our marriage? Do you want to know the truth? I don't know how long I'll have fun. I think I'll probably keep doing this until I want to strangle you every time I see you. I may never stop having sex with other women. Since you canceled our marriage vows, I see no reason to keep them either. I'll tell you this. If you ever find yourself in bed with another man, our marriage will end right then and there. There will be no delay. You've already had all the extramarital sex you could have while married to me, and it's over. You understand? Jody nodded and whispered, yes. Alex confirmed her agreement with a nod and said, and now, if you'll excuse me, I now need to meet with a woman, by the way. You seem to know her. In the bedroom, Trish was standing by the bed, her small, perky breasts looking absolutely edible. So Alex sat on the edge of the bed and asked Trish to stand between his legs so he could play with her breasts. You know, Trish, I have often wondered how beautiful your breasts could be, and now I can tell you that they are as beautiful as I ever imagined. Trish looked confused but pleased. Are you saying you were imagining my breasts, Alex? Yes, sure. You are a beautiful woman, Trish, and I honestly imagined more than what your breasts might look like. I also imagined what it would be like to make love to you. But being married to Jody, I never acted on those feelings, but believe me, I had them. Now, though there's no reason why I shouldn't tell you about all the things I've imagined doing to you, there's no reason why you and I can't just enjoy the hell out of lovemaking. And believe me, I still plan to see you from time to time. He took off his shirt, threw it on a chair against the wall, and then said to Trish, taking off my pants is your job. This is your one and only chance to stop all this. You can keep them on, get dressed now, and leave, and we'll never do this again. Or you can unbuckle my belt, pull down my pants, and let me know that you belong to me now. Trish sat up and reached for his belt buckle. When they were exhausted and fell on the bed next to each other, Alex said to Trish, I want you to come here every Tuesday and Thursday afternoon. Hire a babysitter and plan to spend the afternoon with me. If you need money for a babysitter, I'll give it to you, but I need you for the whole day. I can do this, Alex, and I don't need help with money for the nanny. With that, Trish got dressed and left the bedroom, walking down the hallway to the kitchen, where Jody sat at the table with a pained expression on her face and tears streaming down her cheeks. I'm sorry, Jody, but honestly, I'm not going to give up on this. I belong to him to take me anytime he wants. You are a fool for risking your marriage, this wonderful man, over any affair you might have had. Larry certainly can't compare to Alex, and I don't know about the others, but I doubt they can either. I love Carl and don't want to leave him, but sometimes he's a bit of a jerk and not that good in bed. But damn, Alex is gold at the end of the rainbow, and you ruined everything. If I were you, I would do everything in my power to keep him. After Trish left the house, Jody just sat there and cried until Alex came into the room. Then she just got up, rushed into the bedroom and slammed the door. Alex didn't see her for the rest of the day and ended up sleeping in their spare bedroom. Over the next month, Alex met with Trish every Tuesday and Thursday afternoon, and on Monday and Wednesday evenings he set up dates with various women he knew from both his old job and social contacts he had made. Ann Colton had always taken an interest in him, but of course he had never allowed himself to give her the attention he deserved before. But now the gates were wide open, so now he and Ann knew each other on a whole different level. From time to time, he even picked up a complete stranger at a bar and spent the evening with her in a hotel room. Day after day, he saw the effect it had on Jody, and it was painfully bad for her. He saw how hurt she was, but he didn't really care. He spent weekends with Jody, and they did talk and do things together, but not once during the entire month did he make love to his wife. She asked a couple of times, but he just shook his head. He wasn't ready to do it yet. It had been just over a month since he discovered that his wife had been unfaithful, and he decided to go through with it, so that evening, Friday, he stopped at the local watering hole before heading home. He knew that a woman he knew named Caroline would be there, and invited her to visit him. She was in her car, and followed his car to his house. When Alex walked through the door, the house was empty. So he took her to his bedroom, and they proceeded to have sex, not caring that Jody might see or hear him. When he happened to look towards the door, he noticed Jody looking at him, and he could see the pain and anger on her face, but he simply nodded to her, smiled, and continued. When they finished, the two of them got dressed, and Alex walked her to the car. Carolyn said, "I understand that you and your wife have an open marriage, Alex, but I saw that she was not very happy." "We don't really have an open marriage, Carolyn, but I don't want to explain all that to you right now. But someday I will do it, don't worry. I really enjoyed being with you." He kissed her tenderly and said goodbye. When he returned to the house, Jody attacked him, pounding his chest and screaming at him, "I hate you!" Alex answered coldly, "Okay. Now you finally know how I feel. Now you know how I felt when I learned how carelessly you carried out our wedding vows. Now you know what it's like when someone you love does to you what you did to me. I promise you, Jody, that I will never have another woman in this house. I will also never have sex with Trish here again. This is my solemn promise to you." Jody softened, and her anger seemed to subside. In fact, there was a hint of a smile on her face, and she asked, "Will you start making love to me, Alex?" Alex walked over to the kitchen table and took out a folder. "No," he said. "I don't plan on ever having sex with you again. Here are the divorce papers. I had my lawyer prepare the day after I discovered you were an adulterer. I'm leaving now and will be back on Monday to pick up all my things. Have your lawyer call my lawyer. Oh, by the way, I will continue to have sex with Trish because she is beautiful, but only slightly better than Kay and Bobby, whom I will continue to entertain as well. Looks like you were the worst in the family. Now tell me, was it worth it? Goodbye, Jody." He threw the papers on the table and walked out the door. Jody collapsed in a chair in complete shock and began to sob. Subscribe to our channel so that your second chaff doesn't cheat on you, and go ahead and listen to the next story, because this story is nothing compared to the next one. If you're under 18, don't even think about listening to the next one.